Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Julie Chrisley appeals court vacates sentencing, going home soon. Julie Chrisley was incorrectly sentenced for losses that she was accused of. That is the news that Chrisley knows best. Fans heard after Savannah Chrisley updated on the outcome of the oral appeal for Todd Chrisley and his wife. The news arrived on Friday, June 21. So, she will be remanded back to the district court for an amendment to her sentence and possibly to her record. Julie Chrisley will likely go home sooner rather than later. Many people believe that Todd Chrisley and his wife are innocent. Meanwhile, even those who don't like them seemed a bit taken aback at the length of the sentences. The news about the appeal court is good news. Recall, the mom of Savannah Chrisley ended up being charged with more offenses than her husband. Between them, they currently serve their original sentence of a combined 19 years. Julie Chrisley's sentence had been vacated, per Channel 2. The article cited court documents as saying, Julie Chrisley served over a year in a Kentucky facility, and according to her daughter, prison conditions are not good. At one stage, Savannah mentioned that poison snakes had access to the prison. Strip searches were also alleged to have happened. Even with 2 years shaved off her original 7-year sentence, staying behind bars for a long time seemed shocking, especially as she raised minor children, Chloe and Grayson. What does it mean to vacate a sentence? According to Angus Lee Law Firm, when a court vacates a sentence, it means that a person might have been incorrectly sentenced. In Julie's case, it seems that the court sentenced her harshly without the appeal judges being able to find the evidence to back up her sentence. Notably, a person can be retried, but it usually leads to reduced time or an expunging of the record. That doesn't necessarily mean that Savannah Chrisley's mom gets to go home this week. The appeals court referred the case back to the district court. Originally, AP reported that Todd and Julie were found guilty of conspiring to defraud the IRS and tax evasion, and Julie Chrisley was convicted of wire fraud and obstruction of justice. But it seems she will likely get home a lot sooner than previously thought. You need to know that Todd Chrisley was not found innocent of anything, and for now, his sentence will remain unchanged. However, fans of the couple seemed thrilled for Julie, and they praised Savannah Chrisley for fighting for her parents. Here are some of their thoughts. For months, fans and critics alike have kept their eyes trained on the federal courthouse, waiting to hear whether Julie Chrisley, matriarch of the once glamorous reality TV family, would find justice, redemption, or yet another roadblock in her quest for freedom. Today, a seismic legal development has rocked the Chrisley universe. An appeals court has vacated Julie Chrisley's sentencing. The woman once branded America's Southern Belle of Buckhead might be going home much sooner than anyone dared to imagine. Inside her prison dormitory in Lexington, Kentucky, the atmosphere had grown thick with anticipation over the past few weeks. Julie, typically composed and faithful, had grown unusually quiet. Whispers among inmates swirled around her like steam from morning coffee. She might get out. Her lawyers filed something big. This could be it. And then it happened. Julie had just stepped out of the prison chapel when a guard approached her with a strange urgency. Chrisley, you're needed in the warden's office, the officer said, a flicker of something softer in his otherwise stoic expression. Julie's heart fluttered, not out of fear, but out of the quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, her relentless prayers had been answered. Sitting stiffly across from the warden and a liaison from her legal team, appearing via video, Julie's breath caught as the words hit her ears like thunder after silence. Julie, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals has vacated your sentencing. It's official. The court ruled that there were inconsistencies in how your sentence was determined based on your level of involvement. This doesn't erase the conviction, but it means you'll be resentenced. And possibly, you could walk out sooner than expected. Tears sprang to her eyes, but she didn't sob. Julie simply closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Lord." Back in Nashville, the Chrisley family was thrown into joyful chaos. Savannah Chrisley was the first to post a cryptic Instagram story, a simple dove emoji followed by the word faith. Soon after, she went live, tears in her eyes and a smile she hadn't worn in months giving up. She said to her followers, her voice trembling with emotion, "Mama has stayed strong, prayed daily, and fought with dignity. This is the first real step toward getting her home." Todd Chrisley, still incarcerated in Pensacola, reportedly broke down when he was told of the news by his attorney. In a phone call transcript shared by the family's representative, Todd's voice quavered. "I told her from day one, God's not through with us yet." The appeals court decision stems from a lengthy legal argument made by Julie's defense team. They had long contended that her sentencing had been disproportionately harsh, especially compared to her alleged role in the financial crimes. In particular, they argued that the court had failed to consider key mitigating factors: her first-time offender status, her significant community service history, and the fact that much of the financial decision-making was not in her hands. In a 49-page opinion, the appeals panel noted that while Julie was not innocent, the lower court had possibly erred in how it calculated the amount of loss she was responsible for, a critical factor in determining sentence length under federal guidelines. It appears, the judge wrote, that Mrs. Chrisley's role may have been overstated at sentencing due to a conflation of actions between co-defendants. In layman's terms, the court might have blamed her too much for something she didn't fully control. This doesn't mean Julie will walk out tomorrow. A new sentencing hearing must now be scheduled, and the prosecution has the option to present their case again. But legal experts agree, the tone has shifted. She could receive time served or a drastically reduced sentence, said federal attorney Mark Callahan. If she's already served a significant portion, especially given her good behavior, she could be home in a matter of months, maybe weeks. At the prison, word spread like wildfire. Fellow inmates clapped her on the back and gave her nods of encouragement. "You give us hope," one whispered to her during recreation. "You didn't fold, not once." Julie returned to her bunk and quietly began packing a few things, not because she knew she was leaving today, but because she wanted to be ready. Ready to return to her family, her faith community, and the kitchen where she used to bake cinnamon rolls for Chloe every Sunday morning. She had missed birthdays, holidays. She had missed hearing her husband's voice without a recorded warning message. Most of all, she missed being a mom, not just in spirit, but in the messy, noisy, day-to-day way. Picking out clothes, braiding hair, asking, "How was your day?" and truly being there to hear the answer. Savannah, who has been raising Chloe in her mother's absence, wasted no time preparing. She began deep cleaning the house, restocking Julie's favorite teas, and arranging a welcome home banner made by Chloe herself. On it, the little girl had written in purple marker, "I knew you'd come back, Mimi." Still, Julie remains cautiously hopeful. "I've learned not to get too ahead of God," she reportedly told her chaplain after hearing the news. "But I'm letting myself dream now, just a little." Social media exploded with reactions. Some rejoiced, others raised eyebrows, and critics called it a technicality. But even skeptics agreed. This twist added a whole new chapter to the Chrisley family saga. Netflix producers, reportedly eyeing a docuseries about the family's legal journey, are now said to be retooling the final act. The drama, the redemption arc, the sudden shift. It's everything television executives salivate over. But for Julie Chrisley, the story isn't about ratings. It's about reclaiming her life, her family, and the dignity she feels was lost somewhere between the courtroom and the prison gate. As she folded her neatly packed clothes and gently placed her Bible on top, she whispered to no one in particular, "If this is the path home, I'll walk it humbly." And with that, Julie Chrisley stood in the glow of possibility. Freedom no longer just a prayer, but maybe a promise.